Yu-Gi-Oh players are quitting the game in droves, and here is why. Today, we're going to be breaking down why some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh players in the game are leaving and what can be done to fix it. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, I hope that's your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day. You said it in your head. I know you said it in your head. I know it. I know it. It just means you ain't let the beginning of your day ruin the rest, big dog. Today, as of recording this video, SunseedJess made a video about quitting competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And we talked about it, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on it and everything in between. There's some things that I think they got right. Then there's some things that I think are completely wrong. Me and Chad are going to be debating on it and seeing what would be the best way to save the game that we play. Because I can't say we love it. It ain't going to say it loves us back.
Just like my dad.
So Sunseed said quite a few things, and if you guys want to check out the video, go ahead and down below in the link and see why they are quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! It's essentially all of the videos that I have made before. Genuinely, there's a couple of new points that we're going to talk about, but all of the videos that I've talked about before about the problems with Yu-Gi-Oh! They finally culminated into what's going on right now. Go ahead and check out all of those problems with Yu-Gi-Oh's because those videos are really, really insightful with fixes. But right now, I'm going to be breaking down a few key points about what happened in the video and, of course, my response. I think genuinely Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten to a point where it's way too powerful. Let's be honest, one card doing several things was never a good idea. One card doing several great things is never a good idea. And we've talked about it before. Snake Eyes Ash is the prime example. Normally, you would have one card that would search and one card that would special summon from the deck. The fact that Snake Eyes Ash has both of those on a card and it's hyper searchable is the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, and the card has no restrictions. Literally no restrictions. One card full combo was a mistake. It should have always been at least two cards full combo. Half the hand traps was a mistake too. So to push back on some of the things that I disagree with first, because not everybody's going to agree on the same things. SunseedJess said there is a couple of problems with Yu-Gi-Oh! The first one is that competitive players that have consistently topped aren't topping, and that's a result of RNG. That's not true. There is not enough statistical data to determine that these players didn't top because of RNG. It has been two events, and while being major, there have been competitive players that are well known for being competitive top. I mean, my boy Ruben won the whole playoffs, and Adidia won the whole thing in the North America. That was not just some random player. What I think a lot of competitive players are now experiencing is what happens when an average player sits against a competitive player and has to deal with their BS. Every single one of us has sat aside to a competitive player while they're playing one of their favorite decks or a less competitive deck and have seen that person just do whatever they want and RNG their way into a win. It's innately the structure of the game, but since there's so many decks that have RNG properties and all of them are mildly the same in some type of RNG, then of course it's going to feel bad. I will say, while Dogwood is not a problem, it is the symptom of the game. Cards like Mole Chummy is terrible Yu-Gi-Oh! Card design. I wholeheartedly agree. And the reason why I say this is because Konami invented a strategy that does one particular thing really well. And then they hyper competitivized it, if that's a word, to make it way overpowered. Then they release a card that pretty much counters that deck. It feels terrible for both sides of the spectrum. It feels really bad to play against a deck that does so much for so little and doesn't have any restrictions. And it also feels bad when your opponent does draw that one card that makes that deck feel terrible to play. Chummy feels lazy as far as card tech. Exactly. Chummy is a balanced maxi, but when you make particular decks that make it feel terrible to play against this card, it still feels like maxi. Chad, I ain't gonna lie, when I found out you can Chummy twice per turn, you can Chummy 3 times per turn. That's ridiculous. Konami could do a lot better with their Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, especially considering that we're gonna have more one-card combos come out, more cards that work like Snake Eye Poplar, and even more cards that do some ridiculous things and are incredibly restrictive, like the new Molchami card that's coming out in roughly 3 months, that also put you in a situation that punish you for playing your deck. Imagine once per turn restrictions. Oh my god, that would be crazy. I feel like they need to go back to limiting the cost of cards to keep them archetypes. Spread the love instead of allowing 5 different engines to coexist. Bam. Jess also did talk about the pricing, which we've talked about extensively. Everyone knows the best thing in the world is to spend thousands of dollars and tons of hours playing a card game to get the top at the top of the top players to get nothing. What, you thought I was gonna say Nintendo Switch? That's reserved for the winners. You get top 8 out of 2,000 people at a national championship, you walk away with nothing. They don't even give you a pat on the back, chat. I would at least give you a pat on the back. I love topping and getting a baggie of cards. You get a playmat. Oh, how can I forget the playmat? Chat, let's be real. That playmat is ugly as hell. The playmat wants to be Dark Souls, but Disney got to it. That's what the playmat is. And the crazy thing is Disney actually has better prices. So Disney just sabotaging Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm telling you, those platinum cards would have been better off as tournament prize cards instead of limiting time release collectibles. But then they wouldn't make money. So I'm not gonna lie, the Infinite Impermanence is the YCS top cut, which is kind of late. Yeah, this is the playmat. I like to think I hit it in the head when I said Disney made a Dark Soul game. The vibes are rough. Sick. We also even talked about how Konami could just give away giant cards too. But that Nintendo Switch, bro, come on, man. Would you rather have all of that or a Nintendo Switch? Chat, let me know. There's no way that we would want thousands of dollars worth of cards. We want the Nintendo Switch. I want the card art printed on the Switch. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, man. Konami has so much going for it that is just wrong in the highest level of events. I think Sunseed said that locals was better, and I can attest to that. Playing at a locals event feels way better than playing at a YCS. And it's mainly because I've gotten so many great things from locals. I have just about every OTS Ultimate Rare ever in the history of the game, which is a decent amount of money. I have the Astro Packs and I have a lot of tournament pack cards too. That's how long I've been playing. Don't judge me. I bought game systems with my winnings from locals. I bought an Xbox 360 when it came out. I bought a PlayStation 4 when it came out. I even got a car. I bought some cards, or I got some cards using the credit that I had for cards to trade for a car. So literally, my earnings have already quadrupled the amount of any YCS champion. What, Jesse Cotton got what, 5 YCSs? That's 5 Nintendo Switches? Maximum retail is $1,500? My boy, I got a car. Who really the YCS champion? But I also want to point out that this was before Konami implemented a policy where you can't give out store credit. Please, guys, please do not tell Konami or anyone that your tournament store is giving out store credit. You will literally ruin the game. I know for a fact the locals that I go to does not do that for Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's really unfortunate, but back in the day, we was winning. I'm still eating off of that. But that also makes another huge problem that we have to talk about with Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami really needs to decide on if they want to be a competitive card game or if they want to be a casual card game. Do they want to appease to the audience and give us really cool cards through a locals experience? Or if they want to make it super competitive and put more events throughout the world? Because currently, chat, let's stand on business, Konami is not doing either of those well. So these are the reasons why players are leaving the card game in exodus. The game feels ridiculously super overpowered where cards do too much. The actual counters to it don't even feel fun or fair to play against. And the prize support it's non-existent. The only good thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now is that we do have a ban list looming that could fix the entirety of this situation. Ban every Snake Eyes card? I think banning every Snake Eyes card is just a symptom. You gotta find the person that's actually making all these cards and punch them in the face. Like at this point, the whole game design needs to get fired. Or we are due for another master rule as well. And I've been hinting at some things that could happen. Maybe Konami locks us into particular attributes. Like you can only play X amount of attributes for your deck unless you're playing a deck that can multi-attribute. Maybe you have to play so many cards inside of your deck. Like you have to play this many monsters, this many spells, this many traps. Whatever it is, there needs to be more restrictions on this game. But until then, players gonna keep quitting. A new master rule and a good ban list could do wonders. I've been here long enough to think that that's exactly what's going to happen. 20 monsters, 10 spells, 10 traps. You're an animal if you did that. And hopefully Konami will catch on to actually making prize support. I remember there was a time where I went there and they were asking what would they want, what would we want for prize support? I don't think they read any of them, but I definitely submitted a lengthy request. Until then, I am also quitting from competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Just in my own way. I'll continue to give you guys more updates on the things you need to know, but hopefully, this game gets fixed very soon.